Okay, sorry about that. I suddenly forgot that I had to do something. So, hello, it is Christmas Eve. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're doing something a little different. I've been talking about it. We are going back to needle felting along with Bob Ross, but we're gonna make magnets this time. And we are going to be making them about this size, roughly. Might be a little bit under by the time I'm done, but approximately that size. And we're gonna make little tiny picture frames to go around it out of these little coffee stirrers that I picked up that are thin enough. I think I can cut them with a scissor. If not, I should have an X-Acto knife somewhere. And we'll paint the backup in a nice brown finish, and we'll paint these in a nice brown finish or whatever color is going to look better for the frame. And we'll mount it on that, and I got some little magnets to put on there. So for those of you that want to see the Bob Ross tutorial in full, we're starting at the very end. We've bounced around in the middle a little bit. I haven't really gone chronological order yet, so that's what we're gonna do, except we're going reverse. So we're going to start at the end. So we're starting with season 31, which was the last season that aired, and we are starting with episode 1 of that season. It is called Reflections of Calm, and there is the link for that. I'm going to go ahead and pin that in the chat for anybody that may want to go and follow along with that. I have busted out our new needle felting mat because I kind of need this to be a little bit flatter. I've got bags of yarn everywhere. So this is our new mat. It is also from Wool Buddy. Took the tag off of it because it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be shown. Okay. So just a piece of craft felt. Nothing special about this. Get it in the kids craft section. All right. I am going to trace us a template. So these wooden squares I picked up on Amazon. They are 3 inches by 3 inches. And the coffee stirrers I also picked up on Amazon as well. I can't remember how many was in the pack. I think it was like 100, 150 of the stirrers. They're pretty thin wood, so, you know, it ain't like lap of luxury or anything, but it's thin enough where I think I can cut that. So I'm going to take this to the very edge. On both sides here. So this is where our frame edge would be sitting. Now I primed, the stir isn't white. It doesn't come white. It comes this, like the natural wood color. So I just primed it with some gesso because I didn't know what to expect from how thirsty it would be with the paint. Like I didn't want to do like 10 layers of paint here. Kind of scenario. That's a little off, I think. All right. So I want to try to keep to the inner square here. We'll see what we can do. Set that to the side, and that can go aside. And same thing with this. I just added some gesso to the back. It looks like it picked up a piece of glitter from somewhere or something. I don't know what that is, but something shiny on there. So with this one, there is a lake and a river and mountains. Well, not a river, just a lake. So I do need a sort of horizon line here. I already did a pre-sketch of it. I showed it in one of the live streams. At times we've done the test sketch to work out colors in a stream. This one I just did ahead of time. Not perfect, but you know, kind of gets the point across. So I think about halfway up, I want my horizon line to be. Roughly. Now, I've not worked this small on one of these needle felts before. This is pretty small. I think the smallest needle felt we've done was maybe 5x5, 4x4, something like that. So this shall be an adventure. All right. Let me put my sparkly pen to the side. This is going to be our base backing. This is what we're going to attach the magnet to, and this is what we're going to attach the needle felt to. Find where I shoved my mat. All right. So, I'm going to put our finger protectors on. We've got some scissors on standby. We're going to uncase our needle here. Needle had a slight vacation while we were working on a couple other things. So I'm going to go ahead and start the tutorial. I do have the tutorial muted. Just because we don't need it on. So let me go ahead and hit play. Bob's going to start to put in the sky. Sky is a good place to start. Now usually I'll sketch the whole thing out ahead of time, but I think on this one we're just going to go ahead and pop that sky in first. And then we'll just kind of figure it out from there. He didn't really do any fancy elaborate clouds in this one. Which slightly surprised me. Oh, he's getting some more phthalo blue. All right, now see, he's adding his water in now. We could do that at the same time, I suppose. Usually I wait and I do the water last. Now he leaves like that little, excuse me, light reflection in the middle. We aren't gonna do that, because it's gonna look kind of bizarre for this. So we're gonna start off with our sky. So I am using, who is this? This is Sky Blue from Big Twist Joanne's, Big Twist Value, one of Joanne's house labels. Doesn't really matter what brand you use. You can use roving. Roving's traditional. Roving is what most people use. I just, acrylic yarn's better for my budget. One of these days I need to get around to using up what roving I do have. And this would probably be a good project for that because the roving set I had got was like a bunch of multicolors that just came in these tiny little like floss bags, and you know, it really wasn't enough to do a whole big project, but these tiny guys, they would probably work for that. Providing I have enough colors, but I could always supplement with the yarn if I don't have the right color in the roving here. So we usually do these in large 8x10 pieces, like the entire size of the felt. So it's going to be fun to do something a little bit smaller, and probably won't take us as long to finish either. So that's kind of fun. Now it's going to be okay if I go slightly over these guidelines here, and I might purposely go slightly over them. I just wanted to have a little bit of a buffer on there. Oh, hold on. Sorry, phone rang. I just want to have a little bit of a buffer so I didn't go too crazy there. Because I do need to glue my picture frame down on top of this. So I'm trying to make like little tiny paintings that you can put on the fridge out of this. Now this is my first time attempting this, so we'll see how this goes. The idea is there. We'll see if I can get the idea to work out. Well, I don't know. We'll see. This is just a little bit of water. Just picking up a drop of that and kind of plopping that on my hand like we did with the axolotl. Just so we can try to get the fibers pulled together a bit better. Now, I have been doing this on that gray toned felt, but I decided for this, since these are so much smaller, and I'm probably going to have to paint the edge of the felt as well, because you're probably going to see some of it sandwiched in between the wood backing and the little frame things, that it didn't really matter what color it was at this point, and it's a good way for me to use up my odd-sized craft felt that I had laying around. So we're gonna see. This is the test piece, really. I hadn't had the chance to do the test piece before doing the live stream, so we're just gonna figure it out together and see if the idea that was born into my brain, if I can actually make this work. So I don't see why it wouldn't. I think I've thought it out fairly well. We'll see. I'm probably going to have to trim the back down a bit. And I did not think about what glue I was going to use to secure it to the wood. I might just use the tacky glue. Just for simplicity. Because I'm not so sure that the hot glue gun... I mean, the hot glue gun would work. We've used that before when we attached the wooden half dowels to make our hangers. It would. It's just that I think I want to go with something a little different this time. Just to change things up a little bit. So again, this yarn is just your basic ass craft store acrylic yarn. Nothing special about it. The only special thing we did was that we snipped some colors or some lengths of yarn and brushed it out with that sticker pet grooming brush to untwist it and get the fluff back. That was it. That is slightly, it's not like super time consuming, but it does take a little bit of time to fluff it, especially if you're fluffing all the colors at once. So I try to fluff colors of yarn as I acquire them and store them in some Ziploc bags until I need them, and I have them at the ready. So that way we're all set to go when we want to make something. And then all I have to do is, you know, top off the bags as they run low. And I've got 2 storage bins filled with yarn. Well, the one and a half, really, I guess. I could fit some more yarn in the other one. We had to rearrange my storage last week because I was like, oh, what am I going to put my new paint in? Because the drawer I was keeping it in, the stack of drawers is warped and the bottom shelves are not cooperating. So I can't really put the paint back in there. So I had to come up with a different solution. So we had to go and buy a new storage container. Fortunately, Sam's had some that were fairly inexpensive. So I took the yarn out of my one big yarn bin and shoved as much of it as I could into the new bin. Took my small yarn bin and put that in my other yarn bin. And now the small yarn bin is going to hold my paint. So, and then I went and got shoe boxes from Dollar Tree so I can try to organize the colors going into that bin so I can at least see what colors I've got to work with and try to put colors in some kind of order that makes sense, maybe. They've got numbers, maybe I can put them in number order or something. Alright. So right now we're just gonna work on slowly getting our sky color popped into here. And I have developed a habit of pulling this up. You want to pull it up gently. Don't just rip it, because then you're going to deform your mat. Pull it up gently. You want to do that every so often, just so it doesn't become attached to your mat. But I also like to brush my fiber down. I find it makes the front lay a little bit flatter. I could be full of shit, but it makes me think it looks better, so... Alright. The water just, you know, it adds a little bit of friction to my hand. Makes this a little bit easier to work with. And we all know how these sides like to get wonky on me. So that's kind of why I put in an extra bubble on the edge there. So that way I hopefully don't get it too deformed here. So we can try to stay close to the shape that we need. Although, I guess I could like try to cut the edge off a little bit and it would still fit on our edge, so maybe then I won't have to paint the edge of the felt. Like I said, I'm still brainstorming through this. I'm still working my way through figuring out how to make it look about the best here. I had like an instrumental playlist going on Spotify. You guys can't hear it. And all of a sudden, it was becoming less and less instrumental. It's like, what happened? Where did this song come from? Excuse me. Alright. So I'm just kind of coming back through here, making sure everybody looks pretty good here. Trying to make sure I don't have any odd seams or splits. For some reason this time I decided to work from horizon line up. I don't know why, I just decided to. Doesn't really matter that terribly much. Whether we go top down or down up. Alrighty. So after every bit of color that I'm going to add, I'm going to try to gently peel that up. We're already christening the mat with some blue. Where are we going? Down. Okay. So I'm going to leave this sideways for a little bit just so I can see a little bit better what we're doing here. You don't need to saturate this fluff. Just a drop on your hand. Off of your finger. It really, that's more than enough. Just enough to give you some friction so you can shape your fluff. If you want to shape your fluff, you don't have to. I just find it works a little bit better for me if I come on in and do that. And I'm going to overlap these seams a little bit between new color coming in and bit of color that was already down. Hope everybody's ready for Christmas. It might be Christmas for some people already. If it is, Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Eve for us. And we are going to be oh so busy later. With doing all of the things. We have a movie night planned with our friend Tyler. We are going to watch Muppet Christmas Carol together over Discord after we do dinner and gifts and watch Home Alone with my mom. And I'm kind of surprised, but Zuzu wasn't too mad this morning when we couldn't go do his activities because of the weather. I was expecting more of a fussy puppy. He's like 12, 13. But they're always puppies. But usually he protests a bit more than he did. He didn't really protest at all. So I think he's feeling the weather. I think we all are kind of Started raining last night after we went to bed, or about when we were going to bed. And it's kind of been going strong for the most part. I think it stopped for a little bit, but it has since started again. Alright. I hope all of you are doing well. You're enjoying your day. Hopefully you got your shopping done. Maybe you're in the middle of finishing up. We are not venturing out of this house today. No thank you. Most of the stores around here are either closing at 6 or 8 p.m. tonight anyhow. But I told the husband, I said, if we realized we don't have something now, then we're just going to have to do without it. We'll figure it out. Because at this point, just no thank you. Number one, it's wet and miserable out. And it's pretty chilly. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near as warm as they were saying it was. I thought they were saying it's supposed to be like mid-50s today, and it is not that. I don't even know if it's hit 50 yet today. I will say this day already feels like it's been an eternity because the dogs woke me up at 6 a.m. And I'm like, what? It's like, we don't get up for another hour. What is happening? What are we doing? But Snuffles kept shaking, and it sounded like she was shaking her, like you know how dogs sound when they shake? When they scratch and then they do the full body shake, like getting out of the bathtub shake, kind of. And I thought she was digging at her ear. She just kept doing it and doing it. I'm like, what are you doing? And I couldn't see her. And then I realized the husband was missing, and I'm like, where is he? He was in the bathroom. I'm like, hey, we might have to clean her ears. He's like, okay. And then he went to check him. He goes, actually, they're not that bad. I was like, well, then I don't know what she was doing. But then when they both realized I was awake, then they both jumped on me. And they're like, lady's awake! Let's go! And I'm like, go where? Okay, sorry, I got confused as to which way this was facing for a second. That's what I get for not working from the top. So we're gonna have other stuff that kind of hangs out over top of this. So hopefully we won't have this row stuff popping into place here. It seems a little weird at the moment. I am zoomed out a bit. I guess we could zoom back in. I wasn't sure how zoomed out we were. Okay. So I'm gonna turn this guy just for a minute so I can see what the heck I'm doing over here. I can't remember if I've ever had A snowy Christmas. Like, I just don't remember if it ever happened. I had a snowy Thanksgiving when I was little. I remember that. But the part of South Jersey we lived in, we were right on, we were on a barrier island, so we were on, right on the back bay. Like, right on the bay. So, we didn't get much snow. Once in a while we got slammed with a snowstorm. But I don't remember any actually happening on Christmas. Actually don't really remember that much snow growing up. I remember a couple different snowstorms that challenged me getting to work when I lived at, or when I worked at the craft store and when I worked at the casino. The one when I worked at the craft store, we had snow like up to my knees. That was a bit challenging, trying to get into the backyard to get the dogs out and to get our shovel. I was like well over my snow boots. I'm gonna gently, darling, try to peel that up. Alright, there's one spot in this corner here that looks a little funny, so I'm gonna put a little bit on top of that. There, that was probably more than I needed to add, but that's okay. Alright. So this is our sky. Actually not sure if I should add a little bit more on that edge. Like I said, this is the prototype for this idea. And we're gonna see how this is gonna come out. Might have to adjust some things. But we'll see. All right. Don't forget you said you were gonna do the noodles. I'm just reminding you. I wasn't sure what you were up to. I'm just worried that did I give myself enough room here to get that potential pen line covered? I think I did. What about over here? That seems like it might be a little close. Let me see if I can just make a slight adjustment. All right. So, sky blue. Gonna tuck that back in its bag and set that to the side. Now, he did the water already, right? So, how about we work on our water next? I'm gonna pull out some of our fluff here. Who is this? This is Denim Blue. I always like this for a watercolor. It's, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I feel like we're maybe a little too far out. I wasn't sure where I wanted to be here. 250 good? Okay, let's go with that. Okay. I'm gonna get a little bit of water here on the hands and figure out our situation here. Now, I don't normally do the reflections. Sometimes I do, but I don't always. Like, I've tried a couple times and I just wasn't super keen on how it came out. So I don't always really want to do them. Especially if I'm not real sure about it. Now, I do like this for water because it's got kind of, it's not like a solid variegation yarn. It's very subtle with how it looks post plied and twisted and all. It looks like denim, and denim has all the different kind of shades thrown in there, some lighter, some medium. So I do like that because it has some natural variation kind of baked into it. I'm gonna have to figure out a different color for water though. When and if Joann's fully closes, and when I run out of this color, I'm gonna have to find a substitute. That will be a day. For sure. Paintbox might have a similar color that I can probably get to work out. But I'm not certain. We'll see. I've got a ways to go before I have to worry about it though. I've still got plenty of this yarn. Where it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I did overlap that just a tiny bit where these two colors meet. And it is good to rotate your mat every so often, just so you're not stabbing into the same place repeatedly. Alright. So I'm not sure how long one of these will take to make, because I've not worked this small before. So this is an adventure for all of us. Now, I did not paint the frames or measure them to cut them yet, because I figured we could have that adventure together as well. Might as well, right? If we're gonna have this new grand adventure, we might as well do all of it together. Now, I've not had the time to sketch any of the other tutorials from this yet. I just have not had the chance. I will soon. I have 3 live streams left. Excuse me. To edit together for the speed felt from following along with season 3, episode 12. I do promise I am working on that. I know it doesn't seem like it because I keep saying I'm still working on it, but I promise I am actually actively Still working on it. All right, that kind of came in a little close there, so there is some other stuff that's going to sit there that I could potentially use to deal with that, but you okay?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that might be a big ask of whatever's going to be coming in here next to try to fill that in a little bit. So I'm just gonna try to fill that in here, at least with the water. It's okay if it comes over. And technically I could have gone to this outer edge, but I didn't want to have to trim too much back in case it went a little over, so hoping that my sky edge here is actually over enough that that's not going to be too much of a issue there. And it's okay if you accidentally drop a drip of water. If you drop a drop of water onto your piece because it's water. It's fine. It'll dry. Not a big deal. So we're probably adding a little bit more here than we need. It is a little thick for this bit going in here, but you know what? It's all right. We'll get it worked in here. It'll be fine. It'll be all good. What is everybody up to right now? You guys just chilling? Wrapping gifts? Opening gifts? Getting ready to head out to go visit? Are you stuck visiting somewhere else that you don't want to be right now? Caught up in the travel headache in the airports going on with the one airline at least? Okay. Get all this worked into there. And you know, just stab it till it's attached enough or you're happy with it. Well, if you run your fingers over it and it doesn't feel loose, then you're fine. Should be good to go. Sometimes I just like to kind of pull the fibers apart and put them back together, kind of like to knead them together. Don't really need to, it's just a me thing. I am okay with coming over that pen line just a little bit, just in case I didn't draw that straight. Like, I'm still not sure about this edge. I might come back in. Although, I don't know. Maybe I'm being silly. I'm probably being silly. It's probably fine. Alright. I usually like draw out where the mountains are or the water sits around the land and just fill in those specific areas usually. But since these are a bit smaller than our usual size, I think we'll just kind of go with it and see what happens. Usually I need the guidelines so I don't get too carried away. Usually. We'll see if that's a mistake. Although this one was probably one of the simpler ones for the most part. Some of them I might have to at least put in the landmass areas just so I can keep track of where I'm at. But I'll cross that bridge with the next one, I think. It's a little late for me to be drawing stuff in now anyhow, right? So alrighty. So far, so good. We're feeling pretty good here. What favorite art mediums do you guys have? Excuse me. What do you guys like to work with? Or do you just like to watch art? Are you not so inclined to make things, but you like to watch them? looking for inspiration. Not sure what medium you really want to get into. Because there's not just this for fiber art. There's the dry needle felting, there's wet needle felting. Or wet felting. There's cross stitch, needlepoint, embroidery. There's paper quilling, scrapbooking, card making, rubber stamping. Designing t-shirts, quilting, knitting, crocheting, tatting. Like making lace tatting, not like tatting like tattooing, although tattooing is a bit of an art form too. There's latch hook rugs. There's tufting. And then there's your digital art, photography. There's painting. And then painting breaks down to all sorts of subclasses. There's acrylic, there's watercolor, there's oil, there's gouache. There's mixed media, which, wow, that's a whole thing in and of itself. There's so much out there. For anyone to pick up and enjoy. You know what? That is thin up there. When I picked it up, I could see the light coming through that section. I might fill a little bit more of that in once we're done with our water here. Okay, that is in fact a thin spot. I thought it was just the yarn, but I can see that it's not now. So I usually prefer to go with the gray toned, but when I first started out on this, I had picked up a bunch of craft felt, like a pack of it, from Amazon that said it was 9 by 12. It was not. It was not at all. Or maybe it said it was 8 by 10. It wasn't even 8 by 10. It was like 7 and something by like 9 by something. It was short. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, how is this that? Their measurements were a little bit off, to say the least. So that was mildly frustrating when I'm trying to do 8 by 10 pieces, and I had to end up switching off of that particular felt and just going to the craft store and picking some up there. It was cheaper to get in person anyway than buying a whole pack of it. That was disappointingly the wrong size. What can you do, right? What can you do? But at least doing these smaller pieces, I'll be able to use up some of this weirdly, awkwardly sized craft felt here that I've got laying around, so that's a bonus. Definitely sounds like it's raining somewhere out there. Anybody's traveling to any parties or get-togethers, please stay safe out there. I know it's not raining everywhere, but do be careful in all of your adventures the next few days, especially on New Year's. Okay. So we're not perfectly placed there, but it's not so bad. Still have a little bit more of this dark blue to go. And that's okay. I wasn't trying to race to get this done today. We're just kind of chilling, taking our time, taking a moment to just kind of explore and play around with our supplies here and be a little bit adventurous. I know I'm not adventurous enough. I'm always afraid I'm going to mess up, but I need to get over that. Right? I could end up with something pretty cool. But I'll never know if I don't try. Now, I don't think these will take the weeks that the larger pieces do. Not at all. Maybe 2.5 sessions. Kind of depends on how far we get, really. I guess that depends if you count the amount of time it took me to gesso the other stuff, which really wasn't all that much time. Not really. Sorry, I'm just changing how I'm sitting. Leggies are getting sore there. Okay. Hip joints get angry after sitting in the same position for too long, so just kind of have to change it up every so often. Now this is the standard craft felt thickness. It's not the premium thickness because I'm trying to use up some of my craft felt supply. As you can see, I needed something white, so I'd cut a corner out of this for something else. I don't remember what. But when I was cleaning up and reorganizing all of my art supplies, I was like, huh, I don't even remember what I cut you for. Well, that was me scraping the loose fiber. If you're going to do that, do not stab in and do that. So if you stab in and pull to the side, you will snap the needle. I was surface scraping very lightly, very gently. I guarantee you, if you stab in and go to the side, or go up or try to go down, it's gonna snap. Or you're just gonna be stuck in your mat. If you're lucky. Okay. This is our last bit of water that we are attaching into place here. Okay, I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna do dishes tonight. I need the sink cleared for in the morning. I really don't want to be up until midnight tonight, although we might be. I'm not sure how long a Muppet Christmas Carol is. But I don't want to be trying to do dishes at midnight either. That's not fun. And I've got quite a few out there right now. What on earth is that? Oh! That was from when we were fixing the foot on the tissue paper rooster. Don't know where that came from. I thought I had grabbed all the pieces of that. Must have been hiding on the desk somewhere. Alright, I'm gonna add just a little bit more fluff to this top edge here. Because I'm just not 100% convinced that A, I am up quite high enough, and B, that is a bit of a thin spot. Didn't really look like it on camera, but it looked more like a thin spot in front of me when I could see the light pass through the back of it when I picked it up, with everything else being solidly not see-through. So, like, yeah, I think maybe we need to add a little bit more there. Just to make sure. I'd rather add a little more than I needed necessarily. then end up a little short. So, I mean, granted, we are adding fluff onto the top of this, but I also didn't want to start out believing I had a thin spot, because then if I start adding more layers on top of it, it might pull those fibers away from where they are covering, and then just make it even more obvious that there was a thin spot there, and then I'm gonna have to go back and fix everything. So I just want to start out already fixed before we move on to the next bit here. Okay. So this is a bit of a fluffier bit of yarn here. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out if that is going to be a bit of a gap there or not. I will say, when I opened my gesso that has been open, it was almost dried up. I was like, no! I did use almost all of the jar. There was just a bit left in the bottom. I had that for a couple of years. I do have another jar, though, that I had picked up a little while ago. Hopefully that one is still good. I haven't opened that one yet. That one's time to shine will be coming soon. I'm trying to pull from different sides every so often when I go to lift up. Just to make sure that I'm not like distorting it too badly by only pulling from one side or the other primarily, because I usually tend to pull from this side, which I think is why my corners get so wonky at times. Okay. So we've got sky, we've got land. Let's find our tutorial here, and we'll see what we've got in store next. He took Prussian blue. And he's kind of darkening up the top a little bit. And just a little bit at the bottom. And right there, he got a little too much paint on there that he's trying to blend in, so it's not quite so noticeable. But he's got other stuff that's going to sit there, so it's not going to be that noticeable in the end. Okay, so he took phthalo blue and alizarin crimson and black. And he's trying, see, he's trying to make a dark lavender. I went with grays on this because it looked more gray to me when I first saw it. So he's gonna do this with the palette knife. Because I was also looking at this from the finished product, right? So that looks more like a, yeah, see right there, it kind of looks like a more gray tone. And he's putting in a little bit of a mountain back there. But it's small. Right? It's very far away. And then he's going to grab that paint and kind of extend it with his brush. Which also thins out the amount of paint that is all grouped up and on top of each other. And because he's got it disappearing into that lighter blue, the lighter blue looks like it's a fog bank. So he's got that mountain there, and then he's going back to this dark color. And then he's going to start to overlap this darker color in the front of it. Now, I could have gone with like dark aubergine for this, but when I was looking at the finished piece, I didn't really think about using purple. I was kind of like, yeah, we can go with gray and black. Now, we can do anything that we really want to here. Because it is our world and we are going to work with what colors we have. And I do actually have this dark, deep purple color, or at least a similar color. But I already picked out what I picked out, so I'm just going to go with the colors that I thought it was supposed to be. Alright, so he's going to grab that. Same with that lighter mountain in the background. Alright. Now, before he starts... Oh, he's doing the reflection in the water. I don't need that just yet. So, excuse me, let's say that forward mountain is kind of sitting on the water line. Kind of need to figure out where our back mountain's going to be. So back mountain, let me look at my notes here. I decided that was going to be this like elephant gray color. So I'm going to pull some of that out. I don't think I'm going to need anywhere near that much. All right. Just get a tiny drop of water here. And I'm going to roll this. I kind of need this to be a little bit thinner to at least kind of figure out what my plan is here. All right. So kind of just need to figure out where we want it to sit. I also kind of need to figure out how far over this guy's gonna be. I'm not sure if I'm really making this the right height here. So you're actually going to kind of disappear to about there. And then I'm going to bring you over to like about here. I want you to be a little bit taller or come down lower than I'm necessarily going to need. Like, that's fine. So this guy, we can just kind of bring back across here. I don't really need to cut off that bit of tail because we can just incorporate that back into here. It's going to be a little bit hard to see till we get that fully filled in there. Because right now it's just like, what are you doing? Why? Alright. Alright, I'm going to turn this just so I can see a little bit better. Because that is something I do need to do. Is be able to see what I'm doing here. Okay. Now this guy, the idea behind him is that he is so far back that we really can't make out anything. It's kind of like just a light shadow hanging out in the mist or fog or whatever. Like you can kind of make out that there is something there, but we can't really see too many details on him. Add a few more layers up on this guy just to get that blue covered up there. And that's okay. We got time. We got nowhere to be for a little while. And this is a whole new thing we're trying here, so it's gonna be okay. Right now I'm just trying to straighten out that edge a little bit. And you know what? If it comes all the way down to the water line in the end, it doesn't really matter because the other mountain's gonna kind of sit on top of it. Yeah, sorry, I was just checking my reference sketch. So in my reference, you can't even really see this mountain hardly, which is why when I was reading my notes for what was what colors that I had made a couple of weeks ago, I was so confused. I was like, which back mountain am I talking about? Because this looks like the front mountain. And I had to go back and look at the end of the tutorial before I realized what I was even talking about. I was like, oh, okay. Because sometimes I will, not sometimes, I usually just go to the photo at the end of the tutorial, like the end shot of it, like just before the credits start rolling, and use that to sketch out my reference sketch, right? Because that's how it's looking in the end. And I can't make the fiber blend like paint does on the canvas. So I kind of needed to see what colors I was working with and how this was going to look in the very end. So I will usually just look at the end piece. And then I get so confused when I come back and I start actually following the tutorial with everybody on the live, because I'm like, when did he do this? Like, I didn't see this in the end part of it. Like, what? And then I'm like, he ended up covering it up like entirely with something else. Or I have an epiphany of, oh, that's what that was supposed to be. Oops. Oh well. Ours is a little different, I suppose. But you know what? It's okay. Ours can be a little different. Bob said he's not trying to teach people how to do exact copies. He's just trying to teach people a technique. So we are just following how he made this with the oil paints, except we are adding our own little fiber flair to it, if you will. Okay. We are leaving quite a christening mark here, aren't we? That's okay. We're definitely gonna have to trim the back of that down a bit, though, once we get to that point. All right, so you can kind of see our mountain trying to come to life here. It's trying. It's a bit lighter than I think I was anticipating that being, though. I will say that. Alright, so I'm gonna have to work with really tiny bits of fluff here, just to kind of get this figured out here. But as I get this layered up here, it's starting to darken just a little bit. I mean, it's a very light gray, so already a little bit hard to see, but it is a bit thin in a couple of spots here. So I do want to fill in those thinner sections where I can at the very least. Kind of hard to work this tiny with needle felting for me. I was a little concerned about working so small if we'd actually be able to make some of these things look quite right. So in the next one, I might sketch out my mountain shapes ahead of time, like I usually do on the big pieces. I don't know what it looks like, but it looks like something, I guess. I do find that using the drop of the water makes the fibers come in a little bit tighter. And it's not quite as loose of a gather. Okay. That's probably as good as I'm gonna get. Like, I don't want a whole lot of definition there, and it's hard to define something that's that small. Okay. So, the front mountain, I decided I was gonna do in black. So, see how we do with this. That's a little thick. Okay. Now, this guy kind of comes like all the way over to like here. And see if we can try to get some more peaky action happening here. Now he's got a few more peaks happening here than I do. I was concerned that I was not going to have enough room here, but you know what? We'll just take that one like right off the edge. That's okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be the exact same as Bob's. It's fine. It's okay. I don't really want it to be the same exact as Bob's anyhow. There. So, like, I need to fill this in now. Or try to. Sorry, I just need a drink real quick. Alright. So. Just gonna work on filling this in now. And I am gonna try to snip down the back a bit. once we get done filling in everything. All right. Grab our next bit of fluff. All right. I'm just trying to make sure I am kind of on my horizon line here, so I don't get too carried away there. I'm not going to worry too much because there is going to be something else coming up in here. But I am trying to keep it close to there. Excuse me. I'm undecided yet if I'm going to attempt the reflections because this is such a small piece. It might be a little busy. I might try to put a little something in there. Potentially. But I haven't made up my mind yet. I did the test sketch with it there, just in case. But, we'll see. Might just be a little too small. And if you need your bit of fluff to be a little bit smaller, to make it a little bit easier to handle, well, by all means, make it smaller. You are more than allowed to. No reason why you can't. Today is about trying new things, so excuse me. So trying new things is what we're doing. Okay. Yeah, maybe I should have went with the purples, but that's okay. It's all good. I'm gonna turn this just so I can see where I need to add this guy in. I don't accidentally start making a new ridge. I mean, if I do, I do, but at this point I can still work with that. Oh, dang it. Shoot. Ah! Stupid. Stupid Spotify. Not what I tried to do. Okay. I went to try to add it to my playlist, didn't realize the song was already on the playlist and accidentally removed it. Like, no, that's not what I wanted at all. So if you come in at an angle on something, you can try to move the fibers around a little bit if they aren't quite in the position that you wanted them to be in. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works a little better than others. Move that. My little water, my painting water cup was kind of getting caught on this thing. It's starting to annoy me. Okay. Not so bad. It's coming together. All of the white is making it hard to see the little one in the background. I don't want to trim it yet, though. I mean, we could. Actually, we could trim that down quite a bit. These scissors are starting to give up on me. Husband's like, these scissors don't cut for anything anymore. And I was like, what? Really? I've been able to get them to cut, but they are getting a little fussy, I suppose. Okay. Wow, this is a thick boy already. That is a thick boy. I can feel how thick it is. Just trying to hold it in place there. Get the unprotected finger out of there. It's hard to believe that this thing is that thick already, but she definitely is. All right. We are just filling in our front mountain color. Back mountain didn't get any shading or anything to it because it was so far away. It was just kind of there, enshrouded in the fog, mist, what have you. He's done a few of those where they're just kind of there, hanging out in the distance. Actually, that's a little thick, I think. Doesn't really need to be quite that thick. Just trying to even up that bottom edge just a little bit. I mean, it's not a big deal if it's a little uneven. All right, get our next bit of fluff and stuff here. So while these will be a little bit faster, I believe, than the 8x10 ones, they'll still take a little bit of time and a little bit of fussing to get them right. And there's nothing wrong with that. Things take as long as they take, you know? I don't think I can sharpen those scissors either. I mean, if I try to sharpen them, I will probably lose a lot of the coating, although a lot of the coating looks like it's already gone anyway. I've had this pair of scissors for quite a while. So it's not really all that surprising. Ooh, ooh, almost stabbed my boob. Oh no, that's not good. Oh jeez. I was ready to yell. I was like, and it just managed not to do that. My hand let go of it and it rolled towards my boob, and I was like trying to lean forward to keep it from hitting the floor, and at the same time I'm like, oh no, the pointy end's at me. No, no, no. Oh goodness me. Nisey Fumble Hand strikes again. I think I broke 2 hand scanners when I worked at AC Moore because my hand just let go of it totally unexpectedly. Just crashed into the counter. I'm like, damn. 'It. 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 Alright, we've got just a little bit more of our base color to fill in right there. I decided to just use the small, like my little small water cups that I use for the paints and stuff, for this, instead of just using the bottle cap, because I'm getting more and more dangerously close to knocking the bottle over while it's open without the lid on it. I'm like, yeah, I have these tiny cups. I've got a gazillion of these tiny cups. I should just, you know, use them for their purpose of holding liquid. Like, I know they were designed to hold liquid. It can hold plain water. It'll be fine. I'm sad that we probably won't get a walk-in today because of the weather, though. Like, all of the Christmas lights are gonna go away soon. And then our nightly walk, or our almost nightly walk, will be plunged back into the drab, dull darkness. With no sort of colorful lights to light the way. And to add a little bit of cheer to the gloom. Excuse me. We might be good there. Let me pop this guy up. Brush down our little bit of fluff here. How are we looking? Not too bad. I'm not sure why that got a little off center there, but that should be okay. Alright. Now, don't think I'm quite done with the black yet, so I'm going to keep this bag around. Throw that in my project bucket. Or what of it will fit in the project bucket. Okay. Now, let's see. We've got the base of the mountain in. He's gonna add some... Does he add highlights to this? He adds the reflection. Does he not? Oh, there we go. So I think that... Is that the shadow? That's the highlight. It's a very dark highlight. But it is a bit of a highlight. Where he's sort of coming in and adding some ridges and stuff. He does tend to add the shadow afterwards. Excuse me. Our allergies have been a mess today. So It's that ridge there. Okay, so let me see. It's a very grayed out looking thing. Ours doesn't quite look like that. I'm still undecided if I'm putting this reflection in. Alright, what did I say I was using? Hang on, let me check my base color. We did black. Shadow, we're gonna go medium gray. Highlight misty gray. Oh. Well, this is gonna be difficult for me. And my fingers trying to work this tiny. So, it's gonna be hard to see, but I do have some fluff in my fingers. So you can see it in my hand, kinda. Alright. So this is what I'm gonna kind of use as my highlight here. Sometimes I can get the highlights to go in a little bit better than others. I lost the fluff there against all of the white there. Although this misty gray is very close to our mountain color in the background. Apparently, it's kind of looking like it's trying to blend in with it. That's not what I was going for. Okay, so I'm grabbing our medium gray here. And just trying to add a little bit of shadow into here. A little bit easier to do bigger, I will say. Do find this a lot easier working larger. Oh wow, these scissors are pretty shot. Well, we're gonna do our best. Actually, I'm gonna grab the snips here for this. This might be a little bit easier to work with here. Alright, so I'm just kind of scraping the fibers around here. And I've kind of got this angled going away from our highlight. At least that's what we're trying to do. Probably not really working out the way I did it with the colored pencil, or the way we've done it before. Because I gotta get the hang of doing this tiny. Yep. We want it to be wispy, right? Okay. Highlight over there. All right, let me grab some more of our highlight color here. I'm just gonna make sure that that is worked into there. I grab my shadow color here and just try to pop that in along that back side of that and try to take that down to there. You okay? Okay, it's not looking too unrecognizable though. Let's see. Is that our shadow? Or is that our... That's our shadow. Okay. Wasn't sure if I had moved. I did move them, but I couldn't remember if I had used all of my highlight color already. Okay, that bit of shadow color just kind of totally got eaten up there. Okay. Sorry, I was getting a drink there. All right. So I'm gonna come back in and give that a proper attachment there. Especially the end little bits that we just kind of trimmed. All right. Didn't want to go bright white for snow on this because he didn't have it like bright white snow, so I didn't want to go too crazy.
Giving you a heads up.
Oh, sorry about that. Husband needed to, excuse me, needed to tell me something. I'm dropping stuff. We're gonna try a cough drop. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm using 2 different shades of gray. One is on the much lighter end, and one is on the much darker end. So he always has breaks in his highlights and shadows. So that's what I'm trying to make happen here. So I've got the threads pulled apart. Although the more you try to stab the thinner threads in, the more they start to kind of melt in and disappear. So sometimes it works out better than others. Did you check on the transfers?
No, I had not.
Since that hard drive is giving such trouble with the wire. And I don't know if it's just the wire or if it's the connection coming out of it.
I've tested it. It's the wire.
So did you put a different wire on it?
No, not about different wire. It's not about being a different wire, hon. It's just a it's basically like your mom's Kindle where it got pushed around too much.
So it's where the wire connects, not the wire itself.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about where the USB connects.
No, I was talking about the wire itself.
Yes, where the wire connects.
Okay. So we kind of got some shadows in there. It's much easier to draw it than to needle felt it. Much easier. I will say. I think because of this mountain being so dark and black, I don't think I'm going to end up putting the reflection in. It's just not going to look right, no matter what I do. Paint it's going to look more like a reflection. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get that to cooperate. Alright, let's see. So he's mixing a color. And he's kind of putting in a foothill. Now, when I was looking at this in the finished piece, I thought this was like a dark blue. And that's what I've decided to go with, is a dark blue. So what's he do after that? He adds another foothill. Yeah, he's got like another foothill in there that's green. Mine's gonna look nothing like his, just so we're clear. I'm just waiting for them to try to get a shot of this. I don't know if they're going to at this point. They really liked this like 3/4 shot here for a lot of what they did. It makes it hard to get a good view of what's going on. Okay. Well, I decided to use Midnight Blue. This is a paint box color. Well, we don't need it to be super thick here. Again, this is just kind of a experimental piece. See if I can even work this small. All right. So it's going to be pretty dark against all of the other dark colors in here. Oh no, I can come down a little bit. I was like, that feels really far away from me. So kind of like how we did our other like rows of trees. In previous ones, that's kind of how I'm doing this. It is a little bit hard to see our dark color going in here. Like his foothill was a little bit shorter, but he was also working on a much larger surface. We're trying to basically cram something that's on an 18 by 20, is it 18 by 20 or 18 by 24? A much larger canvas than what we have here. So trying to translate that over can be a bit of a challenge here. That's like half of what we're doing here today is challenging ourselves. See if we can try to make this work. I'm trying to keep my bottom edge the same as what we've done so far. Now, it's not going to be too bad if I'm not completely on there. I do have another row of this that I need to pop in here. Cow, leave it alone. All right. So this bit's kind of where we get into our more time-consuming part of it. I have to keep stopping and snipping and so I just kind of let that tail, folded that in half and let that come up. I'm just kind of fanning out the fibers there before I start dabbing them in. All right, a little bit of water. It might be better that I did go with a midnight blue here. So if I went with the mountain color, Since it's kind of hard to convey mist with the fiber, it probably would have just gotten lost. Unless I went with like an entirely different color of purple. But you know what? Blue works too. Cow! That's enough. Ed's getting annoyed, Cow. Leave him be. Leave him be. What did I say? No, I have to get up.
Enough.
Go on. Are you stuck in now? His foot's stuck in the blanket. There he goes. Go on. Thank you.
Oh my god, we replaced the chair today.
Yay! No more sounding like his chair is going to collapse underneath of him.
Just got chased off there.
Cow, Cow. If I have to get up again. Cat's a hardhead. He's like trying to do a dominance display on top of Ed. While Ed's laying there trying to take a nap, minding his own damn business. Except Ed was starting to swish his tail and he was kind of tired of it. They're all fixed, too. But he wants to be the cat in charge, and Ed's like, will you just go away? Alright. Like, I can kind of just see this, so I doubt the camera is picking up the tree line that we are working on putting in. So it is so very dark on top of the black here. But then I've got another color. He added like this dark colored one, and then he added like a green one in on top of it. Alright. So this guy's gonna be a little bit small. We're kind of covering up all of our shadow work that we just did. Our shadow and highlight work. So actually, when I get all the way across, I might come back with just a little piece to run across the bottom just to even up that bit in there. Okay. So mad because the other day I barely coughed at all. And I was like, oh good, this nonsense is like done. Nope. Today is a different day. Alright. Now I do have a slight gap between these two, but that's probably okay. I don't think I'm gonna worry about it too much. It's not that bad of a gap. I haven't even looked at what the next one entails either. What is the next one? Before the snowfall. All the thumbnail is doing is showing one of the squirrels. So I have no idea what it even looks like. I guess we'll find out later. Alright. Now the green color that's going to be going in here next. That is going to be quite a pop of green. And that will be quite a bit more noticeable. A lot of fluff in there. Okay. Okay. Oh, I feel so bad that we keep depositing bits of fluff on there. I mean, that's what it's for, right? To use, but I always feel bad. Okay, and probably one more little bit of fluff going in here. Probably. Maybe two more. So I do have some gaps in between my trees on this foothill. But you know what? That's okay. Not a huge thing. Alright, so now I am going to come back with a bit more fluff here. Don't need quite this much fluff, but oh, maybe I will. Kind of depends here. Right, drop of water. Right, so I'm just kind of looking for something to take all the way across here. That isn't too crazy long. I didn't want to be completely invading the trees here. I just needed something here. Just to try to level that off. And like, I didn't have to do that with this color, but it's just easier to do it now, so I don't have to try to make the green do more work than it really needs to be doing. Just making sure that section that I snipped is still looking good there. Okay. Okay. So my blue tree line is there, even if you can't really see it all that well. It is there. Okay. Now, pretty sure I'm done with that color of blue. That one can go back up on the fluff wall. Alrighty. Where... Okay, forest green. So big twist forest green now for the next bit of foothilly action. So this one we'll definitely be able to see quite a bit better. Or at least in theory. But that one tiny little bit is certainly not gonna be enough to be seen here. Okay. Next bit of fluffy things. I'm trying to vary the height a little bit, which may or may not work out. I am going to do the same thing that I did with the blue and come back and just do a strip of the green across just to kind of clean that up a little bit. So we get all of this guy popped into place here. And you can kind of see that green coming in now. All right. Jeez. A lot of fluff in this tiny little section. All right. Get that kind of popped into there, so it might just look like tall grass instead of foothills, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I am very much okay with that. Okay, snip, snip. Get that bottom edge popped into there. Okay. I didn't want to lose my height too much there, although I did end up losing a bit of it. So I kind of let go of the bottom just a little. So it would pull from the bottom instead of the top quite so much. Okay. So we'll get this next piece worked into here. Whoop. Where are you going, buddy? One of the bags of fluff was trying to escape. I know you want to get back to your fluff wall, my friend, but I'm not quite ready to put you back up yet. I'm done with you for now, but I will put you back up when we get to cleanup time. Alrighty. That is much too thick. Much too thick for what we're trying to do here. I don't want it completely taken over here. Like, I'm okay with it being slightly thicker, but this is too much. That's making its own landmass. I need you to be a foothill, not an entire island. Okay, pop that up. I mean, it's kind of nice working small, because that means we'll be through these a little bit faster. So in that respect, it's kind of fun. On the other hand, I don't know if I can do a cabin this tiny. I mean, I guess we'll figure it out, because I'm sure there will be one, but... Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Like I said, our allergies, both of us, are flipping their shit. Between the wind yesterday and all of the rain today. And I don't believe it's done raining quite yet. I think they said we could have some more showers later tonight. I think it is supposed to be somewhat dry tomorrow, or maybe possibly start to rain again tomorrow night. And then part of Thursday, they have us in rain as well. I will say my edges, except for where I purposely went over, are not too terribly wonky yet, so that's fun. Actually happy about that. Okay, getting there. We're almost done this color. We won't be finished it today, but so that works out good for me because I wanted to use the craft paint to paint the frame on it so it wasn't quite so shiny. But I suppose I should paint and seal the parts that I'm going to use. So I'll have to get around to that before next week's needle felt stream. But that is something I can also take care of tomorrow at some point. All right. So you can see the progress we're making as we're moving across. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to have the husband put Bengay on my shoulder and on the side of my, well, base of my neck. I moved in one direction last night and almost pulled my neck on the one side and then moved in another shortly thereafter and kind of pinched something on the opposite side, and it was being real fussy with me when I went to bed, and when I woke up it didn't seem to be there anymore, so I was like, okay, that's fine, that's good, it sorted itself while I was sleeping. And it's just started to be pinchy again, and I'm like, no, no, what I don't want to deal with is that right now. But my neck has decided otherwise. So hopefully that will take care of that. I did kind of have to clip my hair out of the way. Did you shake that?
Huh? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, why?
I don't feel anything. I don't know. Doesn't even really smell.
It smelled like hell to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Gonna trim that off of there. Okay, now I smell it. Just doesn't feel hot. Weird. All right. So I've got one more little tiny bit of this to add in. And then I am going to add a strip across the bottom of this just to kind of even that out. Okay. Now I'll get this guy popped in along our edge here. And it's okay if it goes over that pen line a little bit. That I'm okay with. I just don't want it going over this far pen line. Okay, I'm gonna brush all of that down. Alright, so not so bad so far. I'm gonna pull apart what was left of that little bit of a, I guess, tail from us working on our tree line. Okay, I'm gonna turn this guy. And this one, going to work on getting popped into here. Doesn't have to be like super straight, but I'm gonna try my best. I also don't want it to completely eat my tree line here, so it goes away. That is not what I'm trying to do. Okay. So as soon as we get this worked in, right, we are gonna add a little bit of a shoreline. Okay. That got a little thick. A little bit thicker than I necessarily wanted it, but that's okay. It is a lovely shade of green. Kind of reminds me of moss. It's real bright and green. Is someone on the porch? Okay. I thought I heard somebody talking out there.
Yeah, I did too.
And some people don't realize our doorbell doesn't work. Alright, let's pop that off. Okay. Not too bad, not too bad. Like I said, this side got a little over the line, but that kind of happened on purpose. But I'm still before this line, so we still should be okay. And it's alright if some of this sits on top of that. I was just trying to make sure that I had measured this properly. I'm okay if a little bit goes underneath. So like down in here, I'm going to add a little bit more overlap. Although I don't know if I have anything else to go over there. This side might not be getting anything else. You know what? I don't think they are. He kind of hangs out on this side for most of it. Alrighty, let me put that away. We're not done with that color, but we're done with it for now. The blue we're done with. Where did, there it is. So we'll grab our land color here. So this is light caramel or caramel. This is from Paintbox. Simply Chunky. So this kind of needs to be pretty thin here. I don't want this super thick because there's not a lot of beach showing. Now, granted, you could come back in and add however much beach you really want, but I don't really want my beach all that thick. Alright. Sorry, I just had to do something real quick. Alright. Sorry about that. This isn't a bad color. Kind of like a light camel, like a very light camel. Alright, so we will get this popped into here. I can't tell if Twitch is unfollowing people or if other people have decided that I'm not their cup of tea after all, and they are unfollowing me directly. But I will say it's kind of annoying. If it's Twitch doing it. I'm just kind of grabbing the tail end of our strip here and popping that back into place. Alright, gonna gently peel that up. Don't want to manhandle it too hard, because then you'll mess up your pad here. Okay. So that is not so bad there. We got our beach popped in. And I think I'm all done with this color too. So these two colors we are done with. Alright, we need some white now for our water line. Alright, this needs to be even thinner than the last one. Okay. So in some parts it kind of breaks. Where it's not solidly visible the whole way across. All right, grab our next little bit here. Yeah, you can kind of see that. All right, gonna bring this in a little more solid on this end. Or at least we're gonna try to. All right, I'm gonna snip that one. Okay, and then this guy, we're gonna grab here. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a break. In between the two. Okay. All right, that's not so bad. That's not so bad at all. All right, now I will say we won't have time to finish this guy today, so we might stop a little bit early, seeing as how it's Christmas Eve. And I want to try to clean this mat up a little bit. Try to keep the fuzz from getting too ground in there, so let me close this guy. All right. I don't want him to snap or stab me. Neither is a fun time. Okay. These pieces I need to keep safe. so that I can get those painted up. All right, let me grab my razor here. So you can take a razor and scrape some of the fluff off that way, or you can get in there with your fingers and just kind of try to pluck it. Sometimes I think it might be a little bit easier to use the razor to try to pull some of it up so it's not completely flat. And then go from there and try to snag some of those colors that you want to get out. I mean, you're gonna get fluff in the mat. You're gonna, right? Especially if you're doing like the little painting guys. Like that's inevitable because you've got so much fluff stabbing in here. Now, I've not had success with the razor method getting all of it, but it has helped with some of it. So it's not quite so much in there. But like I also don't want to shave too much because then we're going to start losing the actual fluff of the mat. Because there is a fair bit of pink in here that we are removing. Like, it doesn't bother me too much that there's fluff here, because it's gonna happen. I'm just trying to keep it from getting out of hand. Okay. And then, you can kind of just swirl your fingers around and see what loose bits are willing to come up as well. And the razor method was actually suggested on one of the videos from the product demonstrator for this mat. I just might need a new razor. I mean, we've got enough, there's a good amount of pink in there, but we got quite a bit of that off of there. Not all of it, no, but, some amount. Where did the cover go? Hello? There it is. Alright, so we'll slap that on there. Put my brush away. Put my finger protectors away. So that will do it for today. I hope everyone has a lovely Christmas Eve and that everybody has a good Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and anything else that might be getting celebrated that I don't know about. We will not be live tomorrow. We're taking tomorrow off. I will be back on Sunday with Coral Island. So you guys enjoy your holiday. Stay safe out there. And until Thursday, or until Sunday, you guys have a good one.